Hey all, and welcome. This is the XP Pen Innovator 16. You guys may have seen my recent review of the XP Pen Deco. I'm really a convert, I think, to XP Pen's hardware. It's really good. So I wanted to try this one out. The Deco was interesting to me because it was like $69 and fantastic, and has tilt, which is a real game changer at that price point for the size of the drawing surface. And I just thought, well, let's see what else they have, right? So there's really two categories of drawing tablets. There's the USB plug-in tablets that are just the kind of plastic sheet, and when you draw on those things, you're you're kind of like not looking at your hand, using it like a mouse, and you're looking at the screen. But then there's, which is separate. It's a distinct separate thing. But in this case, we're actually drawing on the screen, and this is really important for some people, especially like traditional artists that are moving to digital, and they're like, gosh, I just can't get used to that disembodied feeling of not looking at, like, down at a piece of paper or whatever. Well, this is for you. And I think at the price point it is now, I don't know if that's just promotional pricing or what, but they have kind of like a 15-year anniversary going on. But for $400, which is not nothing, of course, it's not a trivial amount of money, but it's definitely within striking distance for a lot of people. This software, or I should say this piece of hardware, working with the drivers that you install, it's a good feeling device. And you can see that there's a lot of glare on it. Like, you can see up here the window reflecting in here. That's because I still have the screen protector on, because I'm just kind of a freak about keeping everything super nice. I'm probably going to get a screen protector before I pull this like shiny protective coating off. I know it has an anti-glare coating and a nice soft feel to draw on. You can watch reviews of other people and you can see that. But I just wanted to get this review out before I even got that screen protector ordered, and just show you my impression of the drawing experience. So as you can see, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and programmable buttons. And then it also has like a zoom function here. So this scroll wheel, you can use it to just ratchet in at different zoom levels, ratchet out, and then you can also program that to other functions. So that's really cool. But I think that the biggest deal here is going to come down to two things. How does it feel to draw on? So far, really good. Here's a video title that I just did for my recent YouTube video. So let's just get a new file up here. I think it's nice to be able to navigate through the menus here and just see, how user-friendly this whole thing is. So Photoshop maybe is a better test than ArtRage, even because the menus are so much smaller in Photoshop. So it's a good test of how functional this is. This is a 1080p display, so not as high resolution as my current workspace if I use my monitor. So it's very worth just checking out. Is this going to work for me? So I always turn Windows Ink off when working in Photoshop, and there we go. The screen protector is a little grabbier than I know that the surface underneath is, but even with the screen protector on, it feels nice, feels good. They had that pack-in like drawing glove, so your hand doesn't it just slides across the surface really nicely. But I think I'm just like not a gear guy. I don't want to ever have anything else to deal with. I just want to come downstairs, pick up tablet, draw, So good thing you don't have to wear stuff like that to be an artist in the computer. Yeah, so far this is really good. Let's see. Yeah, I like it. I feel like I said, feel is everything. The other thing you do have to consider, though, like if you're using like your actual drawing surface is your primary display, like your primary output, you have to make sure that it's got high enough quality colors, that it's got a good display spectrum, that it has accurate color representation, so that you're not having to do a bunch of stuff on another display and in post-processing the whole thing and doing like a bunch of edits and color correction just to export it properly. I think the key is that, that it's got to be a great display. And from what the specs say, it is a really well calibrated display that can output really true to life colors. I mean, it's not like your perfect reference design that's like 100% RGB or whatever, but it's very good, very close, and for the price point, it's awesome. So I would be very comfortable working on something like this for client work. I think that the kind of the drawing feel is great, and the image quality is great. The other thing that's amazing about it, and you can go on their website and check out the details, maybe we should do that, but is it's incredibly narrow. It's like super thin. So let me see if I can pick this thing up and show you. Look at this. It's super tiny. There we go. So it's really thin, really lightweight, but also feels super sturdy. Like I'm not at the edge here. I'm drawing on the edge. I don't feel like, oh, I have to be baby it and be ginger with it. I feel like it's a piece of hardware. Like it's purpose built. It's ready for my body weight to be leaning on this and doing some work. I do draw with kind of a light hand though, just so you know. So I'm not like maybe the best test case for how burly and how rough you can handle this thing, but I'm feeling great about it. I think I'm always pretty positive about, like if I have a piece of hardware in my house, I've done enough research on it to feel like it's going to be a decent investment. So I don't just kind of take wild chances with this kind of stuff, but I think I'm always still a little leery, until I get my hands on something. Like, how's it going to feel? And to be honest, it's going to take me maybe a little more, maybe a few days, maybe a week, maybe a couple of weeks to get a good feeling for, is this so good that I would rather use this smaller display with lower resolution instead of drawing on my normal like setup on my desktop. My normal setup is to use the really cheap Deco, and I can use my 2K display. It's really nice image quality, and I love it because it's like a 32-inch monitor, and I can really see all the detail and all the pixel detail and all the, I get kind of a wide angle view of my work. So that's the only dilemma is with Photoshop, with the menus, with the screen size. Do I feel like that trade-off is worth it to say, I'm going to draw smaller, but I get to draw on the screen. I'm going to draw smaller, but I get to be, kind of a little bit more intimate with my work, where I draw my big screen is kind of like surrounding me, and that's a cool vibe for sure. But with this, you can just plop it in your lap and get to work, and that's its own kind of gift. So it's really going to come down to style. If you're coming from, my instinct is that if you're coming from like traditional art and let's just do this. Actually, what do I want to do? So if you're like a traditional artist, right, and you are not super fond of the idea of drawing, not looking at your hand, and you want more of a traditional experience, this is going to be probably the way you go. This is going to be kind of the no-brainer for you. But if you are a little more familiar with digital art and you kind of are used to that shift that you've made to using like a non-display graphics tablet, then you've got a really difficult choice. Because I've used the Dell Canvas, the Cintiq. I think this is snappy and it feels great. And the screen is so close, like the pigment, the colored pixels that are representing the pigment are so close to the screen that it feels like I'm really drawing on a piece of paper, and that's a remarkable feeling. And how snappy it is, and that there's no lag, and that it's just, I put the mark down, it's there. I put the mark down, it's there. That's what it has to be. And if that's not happening, this thing is not worth it, right? But in this case, it is. It's working. It's looking good. It's just going to come down to, how does the form factor work with this particular software you use? Do you like a 1080 display because that's going to mean your menus are bigger? And with a 15 or 16 inch work area, corner to corner here diagonally, then is that big enough for you? Or are you going to need their monster 24-inch display with, maybe the higher res or whatever? But for the size of this screen, the pixel density is really good. What we're really looking at is price point. $399 for something like this is a great deal. We've come a long way, man. I mean, since I started digital art, this is awesome. And I love to be able to put a review up for people that I work with. Like if I've got students that are, looking at like, what am I getting for university? How do I get kitted up in my workspace in a way that I can afford and won't kill my parents' budget? They're already helping me out with all this other stuff. That matters to me. How do I get a good setup at home, even if I have, good stuff to use on campus or whatever? That matters to me because, not just because of COVID or not just because of whatever, but it's just something really important, I think, to be able to work wherever you are, and not to, because us artists, we want to paint wherever we are. We don't want to have to go to a certain place to let the creativity out, right? So I think this is a really good feeling device, and I think it's making a hard choice for me because the fact that it needs to be tethered to a computer, it's not like it doesn't have a CPU and a GPU inside. This isn't like a Slate style laptop. It's just a monitor, a second monitor. And, I could put it on a mounting arm, or I can just draw on my lap, or I can draw on my desk. I can use the built-in stand to put it at an angle so that it's easier to kind of draw maybe, but it's kind of nice drawing on a flat surface. It just feels so natural. So I don't know. For me, it's going to come down to menus, workspace size, and then, what's just going to make my life easier. I think, I don't know. I think size is a lot in resolution. If this was like 17, 18 inches and it was 2K, no question, I would be using this without a doubt for everything. This thing is so good. But the fact that it's like 15, 16 inches, like 15 and a half to 16 inches, and the fact that it's 1080p instead of 2K makes the menus a little bit bigger. That's just the dilemma you're going to have to work through for your own priority list. But I really love it. This price point is a sweet spot. It's within striking distance. It's coming out now a couple months before the holiday season when people, get their Christmas lists or whatever together. And it's coming out now when everybody's jumping off to college and stuff. So it's hitting at a good time for people to be contemplating what to do with this thing. Is this for me? A couple other quick things. So it comes with this like barrel, which is like a pen storage, and then it has like a nice cap. So they're thinking portability, right? Like you can take this with you. You grab your laptop, put it in a laptop bag, and you can go draw at Starbucks or some local cool coffee shop or whatever, right? Or you can take the laptop and throw it in a bag and take this to your friend's house. This display though is pretty big, so you need to have a giant laptop bag to carry it in the same bag as your laptop. But on the other side of this barrel, there are all the pen nibs, so you can see those right there. I think it comes with 8, so that's cool. They are thinking portability. They are thinking, hey, you've got to do like some travel. You got to do a business trip. You've got to go, do a conference, stay in a hotel, do a workshop, go do a training, go do like some animation workshop or whatever. They're thinking of bring this thing along, of course. But yeah, it's absolutely a cool option for. I'm thinking for probably a lot of people. I can see so many of my students wanting to grab one of these and just have a nice laptop to plug it into, and that's what they do for university, right? Like, or if you have a good desktop build and you just want to have a great display to draw on, here we are. This is awesome. I have an iPad Pro as well, and that's awesome because you can draw on the screen, and Apple Pencil is really responsive and stuff, but the portability is what makes that so good. But as far as like just being able to draw in the full version of Photoshop, the full version of ArtRage, having all the desktop shortcuts with the full keyboard and all that stuff, like this is definitely preferable to me. I'd rather have a laptop with this than I would have an iPad, or an iPad Pro even. So that's a no-brainer. The only question is, would I rather have, for me, like this fully is better than like than an iPad Pro. Like no question, get this and a laptop. But the real dilemma is it better than using your desktop, your full desktop workspace setup where you have all the cool stuff? I mean, that's the challenge. And if you can have both, you can afford both, well, good on you. That's awesome. But I know a lot of students don't have that luxury of just kind of kitting up in every way they want to. They kind of have to be judicious with how they spend their art money, and even if it's educationally oriented. So that's it, guys. I would say this is a definite buy, but you have to know what you're using it for. There's more to it. There's like buttons, and there's buttons on the side, and there's volume rockers, and there's there's cool stuff going on, but it's really about the drawing experience. I mean, you're not buying this for any other reason. So the drawing experience is good. The hardware is sturdy and lightweight. It's small, thin, and the pixels are close to the screen, so it feels like there's not really that parallax between the pen tip and the drawing. It's like nice and close. It's responsive and not laggy. I would say this is a win. So it's just a matter of you deciding what's your use case. But I'm down. It's awesome. Good job, XP Pen. Thanks, guys, for checking it out. Best wishes.